Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that right now. Hit that subscribe button right below. All right, let's wrap it up. Sunday Night Football. Philadelphia Eagles get the win 16-9 over the Detroit Lions.
In the wind.
Have now won 16-9 and 10-7 in the last 6 days. Yeah, it was very windy. So much so that it wasn't all the wind. Man, the Eagles' defense was so good, but they had like 900 batted passes. They had Goff completely off on his throws.
Yeah.
I do think weather does matter because it's not even that every single throw is like going all over the place. It's like you got to change. You got to put a little bit more zip on it. It just things change. So the weather, the Eagles' defense, the batted passes, Goff finishes 14 of 37. The completion percentage leader coming in, 14 of 37 for 255, and 2 for his last 18. And I got to check the stats. Where was he beyond the line of scrimmage? It was like 2 for a million or something. All of his passes were behind the line of scrimmage to Jahmyr Gibbs, who was awesome.
I mean, they basically got nothing going at all in the game. And then there was like a couple of plays where it's like a screen to Jahmyr Gibbs and then a couple of shots to Jameson Williams over the middle. And that's it. Like outside of that, the Lions offense basically had absolutely nothing over the course of the game. It's interesting. Like the first thing that the broadcast said, like the first thing that Chris said when it pitched to him as part of the opening was, man, it's crazy windy tonight. And then they show you this little montage of the kicks and warm up and these like boomerang balls that are getting grabbed by the wind and whipped sideways. And you're like, wow, it's going to be, one of those games. I feel like they kind of over-egged that at some point though. Like it definitely was there, and certainly in warm-ups it was there. But then we're seeing some of these kicks. It's like there's flags on top of the goalpost, right? You could see that there's wind or otherwise. And I don't know that the wind was as bad as it was at its peak gusting at some point in warm-ups. I don't know that we were dealing with that for the entire game. And it certainly had an effect, but I'm not sure this was one of those games where you're like, man, there's no point even put the ball in the air with this wind.
I mean, they called it on the extra point for sure. It was, even though it was, would you say, going the other way. 6-0 Philly. Goff hits Jameson Williams for 40 yards over the middle. Man, there's a few plays where Jameson Williams' speed just takes over.
Yeah.
Great
him
play.
And Gibbs. Just the speed that those two were able to deploy is nuts.
That's what's incredible, right? Like they had several of those plays, which is that much more impressive for Philadelphia's defense and how well they played. Like if you drop back, you take that many shots, like, yeah, Gibbs is going to make some plays or Jameson Williams might make some plays. But that made it 6-6. Jameson Williams hugs the goalpost, picks up a penalty, moves the extra point back. They miss it. So it stayed 6-6. The key to this game, though, as we said on the show, the preview, got to make your fourth downs.
Well,
the
you
Lions
got to at least
go 0 for 5 on fourth down.
You got to at least make a representative number of your fourth downs. You can't go 0-5 on fourth downs and expect to win the game. And yet somehow they were 0-5 on fourth down and should have had the ball back in order to try and win the game right at the end.
It all came down to that, yes.
Ridiculous pass interference call.
Yes. Now, there were other ridiculous calls against the Eagles. Just it wasn't one-sided completely here. But the Lions going 3 for 13 on third down and then 0 for 5 on fourth down. And, of course, Dan Campbell's just like, yeah, we're going to go for all of it. Somebody finally talked him into kicking the field goal to make it 16-9. So it's like, Dan, it's 4th and 17.
Double down.
I know it's a long field goal. I know there's some wind, but we got to get within one score here to give us a chance. And they finally kicked a field goal. But 0 for 5 on fourth down, that's the difference in the game. And none of them were even that. I mean, there was like a little bit of a drop, but every throw was either just off or the passing windows are contested. Like, that's the thing with this Eagles defense. The same way, like, what they did to Mahomes and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, it's like everything is a challenge. And if it's not, you'll get some Jameson Williams. You'll get some big ones. You'll get a Jahmyr Gibbs, big catch and run here and there. But most of the downfield stuff was tight window and contested or batted at the line of scrimmage. Would they have 6 batted passes at the line of scrimmage between Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis? They did such a good job.
Davis had 3 of them, I think, by himself.
Yeah.
It is fascinating. Like, you rarely get games like this where a team goes for that many fourth downs. It gets nothing. None of them. Like, what happens if all the plays go the other way? And that's the way it worked in this game. And, like,
if they just go 3 for 5 on fourth down, things are different.
I mean, totally different. And maybe if they get one of them, we might be talking about a completely different game. They were only ever one drive effectively away from this game somehow going in their direction. You're like, this is unbelievable that this game is still as close as it is because the Lions cannot do anything on offense except every now and again they string together 2 plays, and that's enough. Like, boom, drive, touchdown. But they couldn't get any of them. And in their defense, it's not like they were all, there was an obvious field goal to be had if you just kick your points, right? Number one, the wind is a factor here. I don't know that you want to attempt a particularly long field goal at any point in this game. And a couple of them, were not even in field goal range anyway. So, they were in the area where you normally go for 4th downs a lot anyway. So it's kind of understandable that they went for them. However, it's so strange. You rarely see a team go for that many 4th downs. You never see them get none of them. I mean, this is like a record number of failures on 4th down for any team ever. The amount, like 0-5, I think, was the most anyone could find going back like 25 years.
Yeah, you don't have games unless it's like way out of reach.
Right.
You don't have teams going for it even that often.
So it was just such a crazy, unique element to this game where the Lions just kept going for these 4th downs, getting literally none of them. And then Detroit's defense performing miracles to stop the damage. Like, they'd failed on 3 or 4 4th downs, I think, at one point, and they'd only allowed 6 points from it.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions, the defense kept them in it.
Like, they had 3.
Eagles missed a couple opportunities on some good throws from Jalen Hurts. They tried to feed A.J. Brown, but for the most part, the Lions kept him in front.
There were 3 Eagles drives that started inside Detroit territory earlier in the game, and they'd only gotten 6 points out of it. Like, Detroit's defense, particularly when you factor in the injuries that they've got, was doing amazing work.
And they stopped the tush push.
Yes.
They stopped, and that was the other part. It's a 1-score game, right? Or 2-score game. And they stopped them on 3rd and 4th and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Lions are the NFC North team that stopped the tush push. Forget the Packers tried to use legislation. The Lions stopped it on the field.
They tried to stop it legally.
Yes.
They tried to stop it, legislatively. The Lions just manned up and stopped it.
The Lions did it on the field, stopping the push.
Yeah.
There was also, they finally started calling the false start on the tush push. Of course, it was wrong. It was.
Well, I don't know if it was wrong.
It was a neutral zone.
But so. Yeah, but
Tyreek Williams, he had his hand in the neutral zone.
Correct.
And Tyler Steen grabbed his hand.
Right.
Which is responding to the neutral zone infraction. That should have been offsides.
But you're not. So when you jump into the neutral zone, if you react to that, it's a penalty. As in the neutral zone infraction is the penalty.
You're saying because his hand is just sitting there?
If you're just lined up there, I don't think you can just start like slapping his hand. That's not reacting to it. That's something completely different that nobody's ever seen before. I don't know what even whoever Terry McCauley, whoever their rules analyst is, was like, I don't know what you do with that. Like, I've never seen that before. I have no idea.
They should just use the spider cam.
But the weird part about it,
view to officiate the push.
But to me, so the hand in the neutral zone is, I mean, it's illegal if they snap the ball. It's nothing if they don't. The patting him on the hand to be like, dude, get your hand out of the neutral zone is weird, but I don't know what to do with that either. I would have left it go completely, except Tyreek Williams then just falls flat in his face after that, so they had to do something. It's like, I think if they were looking at that, they would have been like, I don't know what the answer to this is, so let's just let it ride completely. Only then Tyreek Williams face plants in the neutral zone. You're like, oh, no, now we've got to call something. Bizarre play.
It was just a strange overall game. The Eagles are continuing to win ugly. A.J. Brown did have 7 catches on 11 targets. They were feeding him quite a bit. Didn't have anything beyond 12 yards.
8 targets in the first half.
Yeah. But and then as you said, the Lions needed to make one more stop. They were going to get the ball back with a little bit of time, and we probably would have seen 3 more quick Jared Goff incompletions. But 3rd and 8, kind of a weak pass interference that everybody saw. What did you say? It looked like A.J. Brown goes up with it.
He only goes up with one hand. And so it's one of these things where it's standard coverage. It's perfectly routine. It happens 20 times in a game.
And don't send me the screen. I got the screenshot sent to me. Like, I don't need screenshots showing the hand fighting. Like,
this is the problem.
You could screenshot anything.
This is the problem, and this is my campaign to eliminate slow-mo replay from these things. And this is not even decided on replay, but just stop showing slow-mo replays of things that change what happened. This was absolutely standard, routine, tight man coverage in which both players hand fight, right? And in the course of that, what happens is there's some contact from Rock Yassin on A.J. Brown, like he's grabbing a little bit of him, bits and pieces. That's how you stay in press man coverage. That's part of the gig. And at the other end, A.J. Brown is using his hand to extend and try and get some separation at the catch point. That is also what you do against press man coverage. It's fine. It's a wash. It's nobody fouled on that play, right? And then they call defensive pass interference because A.J. Brown goes up. He separates with this hand, right, and goes up with this hand. And then as he's separating, in order to try and stop him doing that, Rocky Sin like grabs hold of his left hand or A.J. Brown's right hand. And you can freeze frame it where like he's grabbing his right hand. That's pass interference.
I've been sent the freeze frame.
Of course. So you can find the frame that says, look, he's grabbing his right hand. That's textbook pass interference. It's like, yeah, but if you run the damn play at full speed, it's not. He's only doing that after Brown is pushed off to try and separate, which also isn't a foul, by the way. This is just routine physical play between a physical wide receiver and a physical press man corner. It's nothing. And they throw a defensive pass interference flag on it. Look, it was such a blatantly bad call that they didn't even go to Terry McAuley on the broadcast. Chris just called it out for bullshit. It was like, that's a terrible call.
Just like Chris Bent.
Yeah, if anything, it's offensive pass interference. I don't even think it's that. It's just a bad football call. Bad call by the officials. We're not even going to bring in Terry to get his take on it because it's just so obviously a bad call. And then everyone gets on the slow-mo replay and is like, nah, look, if you check. No, shut up. The slow-mo replay is irrelevant. Run at full speed. It's not pass interference. The end.
To be clear, it would have. I'm just rooting for football and entertainment. It was with 151 left. It probably would have given the Lions the ball back with about $1.45.
Yeah, they would have had a chance.
They would have had a chance, and Goff was 2 for his last 18.
Right.
Like,
given the way this game had gone, the chances are that would have ended with the Lions turning the ball over on downs.
Yeah,
again for the sixth time. But still, we were robbed of that drive.
We were robbed as fans, just like the Darnold face mask.
It's exactly like that. It's like that probably didn't change the outcome of the game, but as fans, we were robbed of one drive that should have existed at the end of this game with everything on the line, and we didn't get to see that.
So just an incredible job by the Eagles defense. Their ability to win ugly and win in this game. I mentioned the number of drives because I think it's significant a lot. Like a 10-drive game is normal, right? 13 drives by the Lions, and then we talk about some teams. When you play on, if you treat everything as 4-down territory, you're giving yourself 20% more chance to convert or whatever. So the Lions had 13 drives, and on 5 of those they went for it on 4th down, and they still only scored 9 points against the Eagles, and they had the 5 4th down stops, including 3 in the second half, all in the third quarter. I mean, unbelievable job by this Eagles defense to slow down this Lions offense.
It's just such a remarkable thing for a team to go for 5 and get none of them. It's just unbelievable.
Eagles move to 8-2, full control now of the NFC. Lions fall to 6-4, technically out of the playoff picture if the playoffs were to start today.
Which they don't.
But they're the number 8 seed behind the 7-4 49ers. They played an extra game.
Huge credit to the Eagles defense, which is just nasty, playing out of its mind right now. The additions that they've made, so it's really good. Remember early in the season, you're like, I don't know if that defensive line is quite where it's been. The trade for Jalen Phillips, I think, has been transformational for that front. He stepped in, and the first game he was there, like day one, he was installed as a starter and played most of the snaps. Like they didn't ease him in. They didn't transition him, give him a package. Like day one, he's out there as the starter and playing most of the snaps. This was game 2. He's still a really important part of that. And Nakobe Dean's return has been huge for this defense as well. And that's amazing. I thought he might get phased out based off drafting Jahad Campbell and, Dean not having a huge amount of stock invested in him in the first place. He was a 3rd-round pick, right? But he's come back and been huge for this defense. And he's so good against the run. apparently, despite being like a 4.7 guy, he's able to run with Jahmyr Gibbs down the sideline on a wheel route, which I wouldn't have thought was possible either. But that defense is playing out of its mind right now.
Yeah, they really are. Just making everything difficult for the Lions in this game outside of a few behind the line of scrimmage passes and one Jameson Williams 40-yarder.
Goff was 1 for 14 under pressure.
Jeez.
And the one was the completion for the Jameson Williams touchdown where he hits him and just runs. The Eagles are now the 8th team to start 8-2 or better in 4 straight seasons, according to Josh Dubow. And what's fascinating is in those 4 seasons, it's been make and lose a Super Bowl, collapse,
historic level collapse, not in record, but just in performance.
Then make and win a Super Bowl, and now this season.
And now ...
Yeah.
Question.
The other teams to have done that, the Saints in 2017-20, the Bills in the 90s where they went on their run, the Bears from 85 to 88, the Raiders in the late 70s, the Dolphins in the early 70s, the Packers in the 1920s, and the Packers again in the 1920s. Oh, no, sorry, the Bears in the 1920s.
Wow.
So basically all these teams were like, juggernauts.
Those 1920s Packers-Bears rivalries, just historic. They were great.
What do you make about A.J. Brown and that whole dynamic?
Nothing.
Really?
Thanks for asking.
I
think I'm mad. I kind of overreacted and said, "Oh, is he going to get traded or whatever?" I re-listened to his comments and listen to me. Just look at it through the lens of, like, if you had no history of how wide receivers act, if you had no history, if you didn't know Terrell Owens and Chad Ochocinco and Michael Irvin and books called "Throw Me the Damn Ball," like if you did not know that existed, and A.J. Brown was any other position, or you just didn't know, you just had no preconceived notion for how other wide receivers have acted. And people asked A.J. Brown, what do you think? Oh, the offense got to play better. He's saying the defense is pulling their weight. We have to play better. He's on whatever, TikTok, Instagram, Face Live. I'm just kidding. He's playing Xbox Live, whatever he was playing with people saying like, oh, don't pick me up in fantasy. I'm not producing. And he's like, all I hear is him telling the truth, telling the absolute truth. He's not saying, man, I need 15 targets. Don't pick me up in fantasy because they don't feed me. I'm open all the time. Throw it to me. Throw me the damn ball. The offense sucks because they don't throw to me. He's not saying any of that. He's saying we're not good on offense right now. The defense is pulling their weight. At some point, we're going to have to pull our weight. And that's been the Eagles the last 4 years with all these 8-2 runs. They've had games where the defense has not been good and the offense pulls their weight and the pass game pulls their weight or the run game. And it's been so bad this year outside of little stretches. And that's all he's saying. And if we had no preconceived notions for how other receivers have been, this is what I'm saying. Like, every announcer's like, man, I used to have receivers. Like Troy Aikman's like, I know how receivers act. I had Michael Irvin. Everybody projects Michael Irvin, Terrell Owens, and all these other receivers on Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown when they might not be anything like them. They're just competitors who want to be a part of a good offense, and that's it. And it's not headache stuff. It's not distractions. It's not any of that. Just because we think this is how Ocho did it, this is how Irvin did it, this is how T.O. did it, this is how these other guys do it, and we project it on A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson and any other frustrated receiver. That's what I think.
Okay.
On the other hand...
So,
go ahead.
I will say, I think you're right in that everything that a current diva wide receiver does is like chump change compared with Terrell Owens, Chad Ochocinco, old school divas, right? They'd be embarrassed by what they're seeing.
Keyshawn
right?
was throwing me the damn ball, by the way. Sorry,
yeah.
Keyshawn.
Like
this is who we're comparing to.
Yeah.
This is why I was blaming the broadcast, because when they show this, everybody's like, I remember Keyshawn doing that. He must be just like Keyshawn and Irvin. Sorry, go ahead.
And those guys would be embarrassed at this stuff being talked about in the same light as the stuff that they were doing. But it's a different world now than it was then. And social media exists now, and the whole media landscape is different than it was back then. And so it's not just this. You can't, I think, just say, well, because he's not doing the stuff that Randy Moss is doing, therefore it's not a distraction. I think the bar for what has become a distraction is different now because the media environment is different. And what is a distraction is almost dictated by what the media decides is a distraction, not with what you're doing. Chris was pretty interesting on this a lot last night. He had multiple pops at it when it came to talking about A.J. Brown and his thing. we already talked about it before with Jefferson. Like, there's nothing wrong with being frustrated, as long as it doesn't reflect in any performance sacrifice or any obvious instances where you stop playing. And that, I think, is a difference between Jefferson and A.J. Brown. There was a play yesterday where it was a 3rd and 15. He took a deep shot to A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown stopped running the route. Now, I don't know why he stopped running the route. He wasn't wide the hell open, so it's not like but equally, you're one-on-one on the outside. It's an ISO route. This is what you do as the Philadelphia Eagles. You can't reasonably assume that ball is not going to get put in the air, and you have to run through that route, and he didn't. And that's the second time this year that that's happened. The first one, I think, was more debatable. This one, it's difficult to find a real excuse for why he stopped running that route. So that's a problem. Like, you can't do that at the same time as getting arsy about things. The other thing I would say is, I think you have an argument that is, like Chris was like, look, just don't ever say anything negative, right? Only be positive. There's no reason to be anything else because that becomes a distraction. I don't think that's true. I think there's absolutely a case that one of your best players, a wide receiver that's been such an important part of this offense, can be like, right now our offense is struggling and I'm not getting the football. Give me the ball. That makes the offense better. Like, I think you can at least construct the argument, even if it's wrong, to say, and I'm not saying it is wrong, but even if it is, I think you can at least construct the argument to say the best thing for this team is for me to get the ball more, right? I think you can make that argument, and I think you can make it publicly, and it'd be a reasonable standpoint. So I don't think you can say, well, as a wide receiver, you should never have the ability to say things publicly and say, this should change, because that's part of being a leader. That's part of being an important player. But I think if you're going to do that, you can't also just be making random stupid statements on a Twitch stream. Like, that's not helping anybody. That does fall into the category of stuff you just shouldn't say. Like, that's just keep your mouth shut. That's not helping anything. If you want to be, look, I'm just a team first guy. I'm trying to make us better. This is why I'm talking about this. I don't think you can also be like, but I'm also like making random cracks about fantasy teams on Twitch.
I just didn't read that like in any of AJ's comments over the last couple of years. Because remember, he also like read a book on the sideline last year, and it was like, this is going to be a distraction. Wasn't a distraction. They went on to win the Super Bowl. I forget which game that was. Was that during the playoff run, or was that late in the season?
I felt like that was regular season.
Okay, but that was the same thing. It's like, he's doing this, and he only had 2 catches. He must be upset. And he's like, I'm not upset. I'm just staying mentally. He wasn't upset. Like, dude, this is what, like, we've been looking for this.
But he clearly now is upset. Like, that's different.
Has it been? This is what I'm getting at. Has it been self-centered upset? Because I think that's where, like,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, you can be vociferous and say, look, I'm just annoyed that we're not efficient on offense right now, and I want that to be better. I think that message gets undermined if you're also on Twitch making random cracks. Like, if you had just been, I'm annoyed and I'm frustrated not because I'm not seeing the ball. I don't care if I see the ball. My problem is the offense is not where it should be. And that, I think, is because I'm not seeing the ball. If you were making that argument, that's, I think, an entirely respectable position to take. And you could defend that, and that would be fine.
The Twitch thing was, Michael Irvin was never on Twitch making comments. You
but
never
that's
saw
what
that
I'm saying.
from Ocho.
So this is why the standard is different, right? Because those guys had to do stuff in front of media or whatever for it to even be a story, and therefore it had to be ridiculous. Now, you can just be out here gaming, doing whatever you're doing on a random weeknight, and if you say something stupid, it's on a public stream, and it's all over the place, and that's your media cycle. Like, that's why it's a totally different standard than it is for Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, Michael Irvin, Keyshawn Johnson, whoever.
Yeah.
Keyshawn had to write a damn book for it to be a problem.
Yeah, I just look at it. I don't know, man. I think he's mostly being honest about the offense, the medium in which he's conveying that. I don't think it's a self-centered, like, I need 15 targets and that's why we're not doing well. I don't think he's ever been like that. I've actually called that a positive for A.J. Brown in the fact that the Eagles over the last few years could win in different ways. They can win with Saquon. They can win with Devontae games, A.J. Brown games, defense games. They could win in multiple ways. And I think it's just taken its toll on him that those aren't evening out a little bit, right? There's not even a game where Saquon's gone for 200, and you could say, of course I'm only going to get 2 catches. Saquon had a great game. There's not a game where the Eagles played this start to finish clean offensive game. Hasn't happened yet this season, right? And that part I get, and I think that's a concern. And it's like a legitimate concern for them.
Every number one wide receiver in the NFL, if they're suddenly not finding the football, I think would assume that the game their offense improves if they get the ball, right? I don't think there's anybody out there that would not think that. So that's an entirely natural standpoint to take from a wide receiver. And given that the offense isn't firing on all cylinders and hasn't been all season long, I also think it's fair enough to say that in public. I don't agree with Chris that you should just shut up, only ever say a positive thing about your teammates or about the opposition. I think he's earned the right to say the offense isn't where it needs to be and I'm not seeing the football. Those two things may be connected, right? How about showing me the ball some more? Where I think he undermines his own message is by you need to then button everything else up and make sure that's the only message you're delivering.
The point I'm making is, how has he even referenced himself in his own lack of production, and that's the reason why it's not. He hasn't even referenced any of that.
No, but he just took a crack on Twitch saying don't.
Because that's the truth, because he's not catching a lot of passes
But that's the thing. It doesn't.
But
these things don't matter what the truth or what isn't the truth. The point is how it's going to be interpreted.
Maybe I'm just really naive, and it's just naive Steve coming up again. I believe if Devontae had a 15-catch, 250-yard game and 3 touchdowns, and AJ had 1 catch, and the offense puts up 50, not only would he be happy, he would say, yeah, that's good offense. We're doing well. I don't think he's on Twitch. I mean, he'd still say my fantasy production's down, which is the truth maybe, but he'd be happy with the offense.
Right.
But he's not happy because the entire offense is bad.
That's fine.
Whether he's getting catches or not.
But the point is, the second you allow that interpretation to show up, you turn it into a distraction.
I get what you're saying, yeah. It's like a media savvy thing. Should you put it out there or not?
It's not a distraction if you are simply frustrated by the inefficiency of your offense and believe that you getting more targets would improve that, right? Again, that's completely understandable and reasonable, and I think everyone in the locker room would understand that. Hey, our number one wide receiver's not getting the football. Maybe we should give him the ball, and that would improve things. Where I think it becomes, or at least has the potential to become a distraction, is if you allow people to believe reasonably, not just, warping things, but if you allow people to believe because of things you've said that he's just selfish, he just wants the football. Like that, I think you undermine your own message and allow that to exist as a potential outcome here. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a video.
You heard the man. Subscribe.